Welcome back to Fame Feast. And why this is good for them? Because the drama just keeps getting bigger. Both Disney and Marvel are now scrambling, not just over Ironheart, but also the Fantastic Four, which is set to drop on July 25th. And guess what? Ironheart is hitting even sooner, June 24th. We've got just a couple of weeks left, and tensions are running high. But let's get into the Fantastic Four mess. The criticism is already piling up against this movie. A big reason? Pedro Pascal. His outspoken politics and the way he's weaving activism straight into the film, it's starting to seriously backfire, and that's just the beginning. There are plenty of other voices stirring the pot too. Let's be real. Disney and Marvel haven't exactly been crushing it lately. Over the past 3 or 4 years, their Disney Plus projects and even their big screen movies have mostly flopped. Remember the Marvels? That was a massive disaster back in November 2023. And now, Ironheart looks like it could crash right alongside the other recent flops. Think about what Lucasfilm and Star Wars rolled out in June 2024. Yikes. Meanwhile, Pedro Pascal is refusing to tone down the politics. And now? Even more celebs are stepping up to speak their minds about Disney, including none other than Mel Gibson. Now, here's the thing about Mel Gibson. This guy speaks his mind loud and clear. He's never been shy about calling out Disney's agenda, their messaging, or the way they're running things these days. And guess what? He's not alone. Plenty of other actors have stepped up too, calling out Disney for constantly trying to push that same old agenda, all to keep their top 3 shareholders happy: BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. So, let's break it down. Right now, both the Walt Disney Company and Marvel Studios are getting seriously worried about how Fantastic Four will perform, especially with all the heat Pedro Pascal's politics have stirred up. But here's where it gets even spicier. Mel Gibson is back in the spotlight, once again calling out Pedro Pascal and the Fantastic Four film itself. Gibson didn't hold back. He said, "Well, hey man, I think when you are running a company like Disney or Marvel and you have this film coming out, the Fantastic Four, please tell me why you would hire someone or anybody that is an activist that holds no boundaries with this politics. Look, I'm an American patriot. I love this country, and politics should never be pressed on anybody. But the minute I heard that gender politics were forced into a superhero film, in this case with this one, I just could not wrap my head around why Disney or Marvel would think that would be a great idea for both older audiences and younger audiences." That's one bold statement, and you can bet it's got people talking. It's definitely not the way to pull in new fans, that's for sure. And look, everybody knows where I stand on things. I've got my own views, and I'm not shy about them. But here's the deal. I don't go around forcing folks to think exactly like me. In fact, I welcome different opinions. That's what makes us human. Now this Pedro guy, he's out of control. We all saw what happened with The Last of Us Season 2, and now we're watching a similar mess unfold with Fantastic Four. This kind of messaging and agenda, it does not belong in superhero movies, plain and simple. Folks hit the theater to escape the craziness of the real world, to have a good time for 2, maybe 3 hours. Instead, this stuff is dragging the whole art of movie making straight into the ground. And let's be real. That's one big reason why movies aren't staying in theaters like they used to. People just aren't going back again and again like before. They aren't watching the same movie 2, 3, or even 4 times anymore. That's becoming a thing of the past, and fast. Now let's hit pause for a sec. This is real. The number of folks hitting theaters is dropping. And with that, you've got box office numbers falling too, even for movies that should be blockbusters. People are staying home more, waiting for these films to hit streaming, or sometimes just skipping them altogether. And that shift, it's shaking the entire movie business. And now, you've got just a few box office hits popping up here and there, Sure, we had an Oppenheimer, we had a Barbie, but those are rare wins these days. Whether Superman or Fantastic Four can hit that same level, well, we'll just have to wait and see. But so far, the criticism is heavy against Fantastic Four. A ton of fans, especially hardcore Marvel fans, just aren't backing Pedro Pascal. A lot of them are flat out fed up. We're talking serious Pedro fatigue here. Now moving forward, gotta say this about Mel Gibson. The man knows he's made mistakes in the past. He owned up to them, embraced it, and kept pushing forward, and that's why he's still standing tall today. And now, he's speaking out again. Gibson said, "That's just a fact. When you have a film like Fantastic Four, maybe Disney and Marvel should have thought twice about hiring Mr. Pascal. And look, I don't have anything against the guy personally. I don't know him, but he takes his politics way too far, and he holds some obvious character flaws. People are tired of actors like him, actors that turn their careers into a political train." And here's where Gibson drops another truth bomb. It's just not right. It's a shame on the studios that enable that because it's not just hurting the theater chains. It's also driving away fans, and it's also destroying themselves. That's a powerful point. Studios like Disney, they've literally wrecked a lot of theater chains with these moves, and the ripple effect is huge. We all see it. Big theater chains like AMC, Regal, you name it, they've been struggling. These days, a lot of people just aren't going to movie theaters anymore, and that's a straight-up fact. I know folks who used to hit the theater every single Friday or Saturday without fail. That was about 6 years ago. But ever since 2020, everything changed. There's been a major shift in who actually shows up to the theater and who's just staying home. Now, here's where Gibson really drives it home. He says, "I hold no sympathy for Disney, Marvel, or even HBO for that matter, not for what they've done over the years. Look, I'm an actor, but I refuse to mix my political views whenever I'm performing or promoting anything. I would just never. I want to see this industry thrive. I want to see it return to a state of normalcy, where people are excited to go back to the theaters again." And about Fantastic Four, Gibson keeps it real. "Look, I don't know if Fantastic Four will be a box office hit or not. I'm not making predictions here. But the proof is in the pudding. Fans are exhausted. They just are. Of films like this and actors like Pedro. One thing's for sure. Mel Gibson has always been one of the few voices willing to call out Hollywood for what it's become. And today's Hollywood? He sees it as a machine driven by politically charged nonsense, and now, the tension is only building. Word is spreading fast across social media. Fans are already saying Fantastic Four might be DOA, dead on arrival, before it even hits theaters. The backlash toward Pedro Pascal's casting is gaining serious momentum, and insiders say Disney execs are watching this play out like a slow-motion train wreck. Industry sources are even leaking whispers that internal screenings for Fantastic Four didn't exactly get standing ovations. In fact, some execs are panicking about potential box office disaster if audiences reject the film's messaging the way they did with past flops. Meanwhile, Mel Gibson's comments? They're lighting up headlines everywhere. Fans across the internet are rallying behind what he said, saying, "Finally, someone in Hollywood is telling the truth." One viral post even read, "Gibson says what millions of moviegoers feel. Keep your politics out of superhero films." And that's the real heart of it. Moviegoers today want one thing: entertainment, not lectures, not agendas. They want to sit back, grab some popcorn, and just enjoy the ride. Now, studios like Disney are stuck in a tough spot. Do they double down on this direction, or start listening to the fans who are voting with their wallets? Because let's be honest, if Fantastic Four tanks at the box office, it could send a message loud and clear that audiences are done with this kind of content, and the ripple effect through Hollywood would be massive. And here's where it gets even crazier. Behind closed doors, Disney and Marvel are now scrambling to figure out a last-minute damage control plan. Sources say some executives are quietly pushing for edits to tone down the political messaging in Fantastic Four, but it might be too late. Rumors are swirling that certain scenes pushing gender politics and activist messaging were flagged during early test screenings, and fans were not impressed. One insider leaked that audience feedback cards used words like preachy, forced, and not fun. Definitely not what Disney wanted to hear. And get this, even some of the film's own crew members have reportedly voiced frustration behind the scenes. According to one leak, a veteran crew member said, "We made a superhero movie, not a political campaign ad. We just want people to enjoy it." Meanwhile, Pedro Pascal remains unapologetic. He's doubling down in interviews, saying, "Storytelling is always political." That statement? It's only adding more fuel to the controversy. Fans across social media are calling it tone-deaf, especially as many are simply begging for escapism, not more political battles on the big screen. Now, industry analysts are warning, if Fantastic Four bombs, it could be the final straw for Marvel's current direction. Investors are watching closely, and another big flop could trigger major shakeups inside both Marvel Studios and Disney itself. At this point, all eyes are locked on Fantastic Four. Will it rise to the occasion, or crash and burn in spectacular fashion? The countdown is on. And now, the pressure is cranking up to a whole new level. Reports say Disney's board of directors is keeping a close eye on Fantastic Four's pre-release buzz, and they're not happy with what they're seeing. Behind the scenes, some top execs are reportedly pointing fingers, blaming Marvel leadership for leaning too hard into political messaging instead of focusing on delivering a crowd-pleasing blockbuster. One source said, "There's real fear that this movie could tank, and if it does, heads will roll." Meanwhile, fans are getting louder online. Hashtags like #save superheroes and keep politics out of movies are now trending, with thousands of posts calling out Marvel for ruining a beloved franchise before it even hits theaters. One fan wrote, "We don't need lectures, we need heroes." That post alone pulled in tens of thousands of likes in just a few hours. And here's another twist. Some insiders say rival studios are watching all this unfold with glee. They know if Fantastic Four flops, it could open up a massive opportunity to grab market share, especially with fresh superhero projects in the works that promise to focus on pure fun and adventure. Bottom line, Disney and Marvel are now gambling with one of their biggest properties, and the backlash is already threatening to derail everything before the first ticket is even sold. Will they course correct in time, or will Fantastic Four become the next cautionary tale in Hollywood's ongoing identity crisis? The clock is ticking, and the stakes are sky high. Sure, we've seen some drop-off with this stuff, and for obvious reasons. Ever since November 2024, when Trump came into office and scrapped things like DEI, ESG, and all that other nonsense that had been shoehorned into Hollywood studios, well, the shift was real. But don't get it twisted. The resistance is still alive. You've still got Disney, HBO, and others pulling the same old tricks. Right now, their sneaky strategy? Put out some non-agenda-driven projects to rake in the cash, and then use that money to fund their agenda-heavy content. Yep, that's the game they're playing. And this is not a guess, it's a fact. We talked about it just a week and a half ago. Bob Iger is behind this very plan. They're trying to keep their big shareholders like BlackRock happy, and this is how they do it. Now, overall, Mel Gibson is making some solid points. And mark my words, we're going to see more actors start speaking out. Just look at the Harry Potter mess. They did race swapping with the character Snape, and now we've got Fantastic Four straying from source material too. And let's not forget, Pedro Pascal's politics are making things worse. On top of that, fans are just plain tired of seeing him everywhere. He's in Star Wars, he's in Marvel, he's in The Last of Us, he's popping up in comedy flicks, action movies, and now he's in talks with other studios to jump into even more major franchises. At this point, people are exhausted. Just like Mel said, the audience is ready for a change. But hey, I want to hear what you all think about this. Blow up that comment section and tell me how you feel about everything going on. And if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to smash that thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to Fame Feast for more of the latest drama, straight talk, and the real scoop on what's going down in Hollywood. I'll catch you all later!